Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my Colourpop Ultra Matte collection. So we'll go through these colors lightest to darkest, and the first color that I have is Midi, and Midi is a really nice nude on me. So initially Midi looks a little bit darker on the lips than it is in the bottle, but the color itself is pretty neutral in tone. I would say that it's a bit more peachy or than it is cool toned, but it's a beautiful nude, and this is a color that I know I can pop on with most looks, and it goes really well with most eyeshadow looks. This is a really nice nude, like I mentioned. I feel like this would be too light on a lot of skin tones, but if you're the same skin tone as me or lighter, this is a really nice nude for being a liquid lipstick. And that is Midi on my hand right there. So next up we have Trap, and Trap is a cool toned nude. So if you look at Trap next to Midi, you can see that this one is definitely darker as well as more cool toned. This lip color is almost a bit grayish, and I definitely have like more purpley undertones, but I would consider this a cool toned brown lipstick. And that is Trap right there. Next up we have Bianca. So Bianca is a darker, pinkier nude. It's still pretty neutral, but it definitely has more pink in it than both Trap and Midi. This color is not one of my favorites from Colourpop, but I think this would be a beautiful nude on darker skin tones, as it is a bit darker than Midi. But this one is not too unique in my collection, and I feel like it's just one of those colors that's kind of in between. It's not like the perfect nude for me, and it's also not pinky enough, and it's also not purple enough, but it is a really nice color and I do like it, but it's not one that I reach for it that often. And that is Bianca right there. The next color that we have is Clueless. Clueless is kind of the same depth as Bianca and Trap, but this one has more pink to it. This one also almost have like a little bit of purplish undertone, but it is still definitely a pinky lipstick. I find this color a little bit harder to pull off because I find that this clashes a bit with my eye looks if I'm wearing warmer eyeshadows. But it is a beautiful color and I should reach for this more often, but this one is also one that is kind of forgotten in my collection. And this one is Clueless right there. And just to mention, Colourpop packaging can be quite deceiving, because if you look at the 4 shades I swatched, they look pretty identical in the bottles, but these are then swatched right there, or actually it's the other way around. So if you look at the colors swatched, they are quite different than they are in the bottle. So next up we have Seesaw, and Seesaw is a cool toned pink. This color is much more up my alley because it has those cool pink brighter undertones to it. It is lighter than the previous 3 lipsticks, and like I mentioned, it's also much more bright. This one is a really stunning color, and I must admit that this one is actually one that I completely forgot how much I love. I find my Colourpop lipsticks hard to use because, like I mentioned, they are quite deceiving in how they look in the bottle compared to how they look on the lips. So I find that I don't really reach for them too often, but this one is a really stunning shade, and I am really glad that I rediscovered this while doing these lip swatches, because I think it's a super stunning shade. And this one is Seesaw right there. Next up we have Solow. Solow is also a bit brighter than previous colors, but it is not as bright as Seesaw, and also this one is more of a peachy, warmer tone than Seesaw is. I also think this is a really beautiful color, and this one is also one that is much more up my alley than, for example, Bianca and Clueless. But yeah, I really think this is a beautiful color, and it's like a perfect mid-tone peachy nude color. And this one is Solow right there. So next up we have Lumiere II, and this is one of the Kathleen Light's collaborations with Colourpop. This one is also a more muted color, and it's also darker than the previous two. This one is definitely a color that leans more purple, and I find that this is pretty similar to Clueless, but like I said, it definitely has more purple in it. This one is definitely one that I find really hard to pull off, which is unfortunate because I think it's a stunning color, but I just feel like in some ways this clashes with my skin tone, and every time I put this on I feel like something doesn't really look right. This is actually one that I'm considering decluttering, which makes me really sad, but I honestly don't really reach for this, and when I do I most often take it off and put something else on because it's just one shade that doesn't really work for me. And this one is Lumiere II right there. Next up we have Monday. Monday is a brownie nude, but this one is definitely more warm than previous ones, and I really do like this shade. It has like almost this reddish brown undertone to it, and I think it's absolutely stunning. I feel like Colourpop liquid lipsticks, at least the ones I have, is always pretty similar in tone. For example, this one is pretty similar to both Lumiere, Clueless, Trap and Bianca. But they all have different undertones, but they are really similar in tone and depth. But this one is definitely warmer, and I think this one suits my skin tone much more. And this one is Monday right there. Next up we have Bieber, which is also one of my favorites, and this one is also more warm. Bieber is pretty similar to Monday, but it is more neutral, but I would still consider this a warm brown. Again, this is really similar to the ones that I just mentioned, and I find that's the issue for me when wearing these colors, because since they are so similar I don't really tend to gravitate towards them, because it is harder for me to kind of like pick the one that I want, if that makes sense. Because I kind of forget which one is which, if in a way, and also since the packaging is kind of misleading, it is harder for me to know which ones to grab. But this one is also one of my favorites, and it is really stunning on the lips. And this one is Bieber right there. And swatching them next to each other, you can see that Bieber and Bianca is actually really similar. Bieber is just a tiny bit darker and a little bit warmer, but that's something that I actually never thought about. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, but again, that one there is Bieber. Next up we have one of my favorite shades, and this one is Bumble. Bumble is just such a beautiful shade. So Bumble is a very unique color in my collection. I'm not sure if I have anything like it. It's like a very mutual color, but it's still pretty bright, and it's like this rosy brownie nude, but it still has like some like it's just really hard to explain. Yeah, it's like a really rosy, warm, brownish, reddish color, and it's stunning for fall. This is like one of my favorite fall time colors, and I just think this is stunning, and I definitely recommend Bumble. And this one is Bumble right there. Next shade up is also one of my favorites, and this one is Lovebug. Lovebug is again a little bit similar to Bumble, but this one is more orangey. This one is more an orange brown, but this one is also a color that just screams awesome for me. This one is also a unique color in my collection, not as unique as Bumble though, but I just think this is stunning. It's just a very like warm, rich brown, but this color is just so stunning, and I love this one as well. So this one is Lovebug right there. Next up we're moving into some brighter shades, and this one is Pacific. Pacific is one of my favorite shades that I have from Colourpop. I love it. It's a very bright orange color and it's just so stunning. This is also a very unique shade in my collection because it's almost neon, but it is just so pretty. It's like, it has like this coralliness to it, but it's still definitely orange. The only problem that I have with this is the formula. This one cracks super easily and it just flakes off and looks very patchy, and I find that with this color you have to put on very thin layers, otherwise it cracks, and that is a shame because this is probably one of my favorite shades from Colourpop, and if it wasn't for the formula this would probably be one of my favorite liquid lipsticks, but it's just really hard to wear. But I still keep it in my collection because I think the color is stunning. But until I find a dupe for this color, I'm gonna keep it in my collection and just stand the formula because, like I said, this is one of my favorite colors. And this one is specific right there. The next color that I have is Cheap Thrills. Cheap Thrills is, again, a purpley darker color, and it is actually really similar to Lumiere II, but it's even more purple. It's another color that I find really hard to pull off. I wish that I could pull this off more often, but I don't know, it just doesn't really suit me that well in my opinion. But I think that if I would keep one of them, I would keep this one because it is a bit more unique. And I think that if you want to rock this really unique, like dark bluish purple lip, I think that this one would be better than Lumiere II because it is even more unique. And this one is Cheap Thrills right there. The next color that I have is this one, and this one is called Thursday. This one again is one of the more brighter colors that I have, but it's still pretty dark and muted, but if you compare it to the other shades that I have, this one is definitely brighter. This one is a raspberry pink color and I think it's stunning. This one again is a color that suits me way more than previous ones that I mentioned, and this one is one that I reach for a lot in the fall and winter time because I just think that it's stunning. And like I mentioned so many times, these cool toned pinks are some that I reach for all the time. And this one is Thursday right there. Next up we have Privacy Please, and Privacy Please is pretty similar to Thursday, but it has more purple in it. This one is definitely more cool toned, and if you compare this with, for example, Cheap Thrills that I just mentioned, this one definitely has more brightness to it. I would say that Privacy Please is like a mix between Thursday and Cheap Thrills, but since it has this brightness to it, I can definitely pull this off more easily than Cheap Thrills and Lumiere II. And this one is Privacy Please right there. So we only have 3 more, and the next one that I have is this one called Wednesday. Wednesday is another color that is more up my alley than the previous ones. It is a bright hot pink. I think this color is stunning. It's almost like a reddish pink, but it's just so pretty. This color is one that I like wearing more in the summertime, and I think it's stunning, and yeah, it's just one that I recommend. I don't think they carry this one anymore. I feel like all of the weekday ones that I mentioned were limited edition, but this one is just a stunning color, and it is one that I love wearing in the summer and springtime. And this one is Wednesday right there. So now I only have 2 more, and it's these 2, which may look pretty similar, but they are different. The first one that I have is a classic, and this one is Notion. I think most people that are aware of the Colourpop Ultra Mattes know about Notion. It is a stunning dark vampy red color. This one is just a classic burgundy reddish color, and I think this one is so pretty. It's just a staple for me in the fall, and I've worn this so much. I feel like this is probably one of my most worn lip colors from Colourpop, because I just love these colors in the fall time. I feel like a dark vampy lip just really brings a look together, and this one is one of my favorite, and that is Notion right there. And then the last color is the one that I've been wearing throughout the whole video, and this one is called Saturday. So again, this one is one that I don't think you can get anymore, but it is pretty similar to Notion, which I just mentioned, so I would recommend you to get that one if this one isn't available anymore. Saturday is a little bit darker than Notion, and it also has more warmth to it, which I really love. This one is just a beautiful color, and I do think that I like this one a little bit more than Notion. But like I said, this one is more recent to my collection, so I haven't gotten as much use out of this one as I have with Notion. But I think it's so stunning, and wearing this throughout the video made me miss wearing these dark vampy shades. Because like I mentioned, these are more of my fall and winter lipsticks. And now we are getting to spring, so I haven't worn a dark lip like this for ages, but I do love it so much. And yeah, I think it's a shame that this one is discontinued, but it is definitely really close to Notion, so I would just recommend you getting that one instead. And that one is Saturday swatch right there. So those were all of my Colourpop Ultra Matte Liquid Lipsticks. I have quite a few, and some of them are pretty similar, and I think that after filming this video and looking back at the footage, I will probably compare them a bit more and declutter some of them, because like I mentioned previous in this video, it's really hard for me to get use out of these lipsticks, as I have quite a few of them and some of them are so similar that it's just really hard for me to decide, and I get very overwhelmed. And the only ones that I really gravitate towards are like these like darker shades and the brighter shades, because I know what they look like. And yeah, all of these like brownish nude, so that's basically like almost all of like this bottom here, I don't really use that much, because I just get overwhelmed trying to decide which ones to wear. But I have made a top 5 Colourpop Ultra Matte Lip video, and I will put that up in the cards, so you know which ones I recommend. But yeah, that was all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye guys!